9 here. But...
That's just the time.
Hey there. Welcome to Virtual Collage Jam for Monday, May 29th. Quick check of the calendar there. And welcome aboard, everyone. It's been a little while. And thank you to everyone who came out to our event at Gladstone House. That was the most fun I've had in quite a while. And same for Kim. We had such a good time there hanging out with multi-generational collagers, which was really great. So
that was fun.
That was really fun. And
great
with venue.
People online
and with people online from further afield, which was very cool.
That was wonderful.
From the US and Mexico, which was awesome. And
Jordan.
And Jordan, that's right. Yep. That's right. So yeah, it's really lovely to see our little tentacles of our endeavor sneaking out into the wider collage world, which is awesome. So yeah. What do I have to tell you? Well, first I should tell you about my co-host, who is joining us on the other side of the table and off camera. Why don't you introduce yourself?
I'm Kim Lee Coe.
She is indeed. And I'm Kal Honey, in case you hadn't figured that part out. I think you had. And so I believe this is our penultimate virtual collage jam for the spring. I think we have one more in June. And so it's really looking forward to collaging on the prompt of Upon Reflection. And sometimes I sit down and prep ahead of time some ideas for that, and this time I have not, so I will be winging it. I printed a couple of images of skylines with reflections, and that's about it. And I'm just going to improvise as best I can. Why don't you guys let us know in the comments what approach you're going to be taking for Upon Reflection, or if you are just going to ignore it, because that is always an option. These prompts are just to get you started. They are not, if it's like, I have an idea already, well then yeah, go with that, right? It's just here to collage together, right? Or not collage, like if you'd rather just hang out and listen and participate in the chat or not participate in the chat, it's really up to you. It's like a little bit of creative community with collage as an option online.
Yeah. Lots of collagers come here.
Yeah.
But I remember a couple of years ago, we had someone who's been a student of mine who was working on a mosaic table while we were doing collage jam.
Right,
so
cool. Yeah.
It's all, if you have friends who aren't collage artists and feel like they can't come to collage jam because of that, please assure them they can come with whatever.
Exactly.
Including a martini if that's
I'm not that kind of person. I'm much more a stimulants kind of person. So I have a nice big cup of dark roast coffee, which makes me happy. So
yeah.
That and being with you guys on a Monday afternoon.
Well, let me tell you who's here.
Okay, well, I was just going to say here in the GTA, it's very sunny and beautiful. And so I appreciate your coming indoors a little bit, or maybe you're doing it on your patio, which would be even better.
Yeah.
Although collage can be a bit dangerous or troublesome. Not that your pieces of paper are going to kill anybody, but you might lose that key piece, right, to a gust of wind. Anyway,
and Wi-Fi can be an issue.
Wi-Fi can be an issue too. Yes. So I'm going to switch to the overhead camera and just start puttering around with some images, and hopefully you want to do the same. And while Kim gets us caught up on, I see a bunch of people in the chat. Thank you, everyone. And camera's going to go black for just a minute or two while I switch to the overhead camera.
Don't worry, I'll talk.
Over to you, Kim.
I hardly dare believe it's true, but apparently we have an arborist finally coming to prune one of our big maples, one that's needed it for a long time, but we've had bad luck getting an arborist to do it, and I'm so excited at the prospect. So I don't know that you'll hear sawing noises in the background, but that's a possibility.
You very well may. Yes. So
which is good news for us.
Yes. I closed all the windows so that if there are chainsaws going, you'll probably still hear them, but they will be a little less noisy.
Mm-hmm.
at least that's the hope. So yeah.
So let me get you up to speed on who's here.
Awesome. Please do.
Philippa was the first out of the gate saying
Awesome.
hi.
Hello, Philippa.
Glad you could join us.
Yep. Welcome back.
Judy's here. Hi, Judy.
Hey, Judy. Yay.
I can now put a face to the name, which is so nice. From the 5 Elements
That's
workshop.
right. That's right. We got to meet Judy in person.
Yeah.
Which is so fun. Like we've had that happen a few times now where we during COVID, we met someone online, got to know them, a little bit through either Zoom classes or chat on virtual collage jam or Kim's virtual studio party. And then we actually get to meet them in person finally,
It's
which
lovely.
is fun.
Nellie's here
Hey,
saying
Nellie.
hello
Yay.
and sending a very loving emoji. She's
Yay.
happy to be here.
Oh,
So
happy to have you here, Nellie.
delighted you're here.
Yeah.
And Val says it's
Val.
good to be back.
It is good to have you back.
I think you were on a trip, right, Val?
Well, that would explain it. I know,
Yeah.
like Val is not usually
She's
away.
hardcore.
She is.
Yeah. Bless you, Val.
Yeah. Thank you.
I hope you had a great trip. Sibylla is here.
Hey, Sibylla.
Do you know Sibylla?
I do. Yes.
Oh,
yes.
great.
Sibylla Mansfeld.
Yes.
From-
So she's here
Awesome.
saying good, wishing us a good afternoon. And Jane is here.
Hey, Jane.
Hey, Jane.
Yay.
And
Jane is our in sports. I think they refer to someone who's always who has streaks of not missing games.
right.
As an iron man or iron woman, and she's our iron woman for sure.
Mm. I kind of doubt Val has missed very many.
Val has not missed very many.
Yeah. And yes. So thanks, Judy. And Val says, I was in Uganda for a month. Fabulous trip. That's right. I
Wow.
remember the photos. You had wonderful safari type photos.
That's amazing.
Thank you for
Wow.
sharing those. That was it must have been incredible to actually be seeing them in their home.
Yeah, that's remarkable.
Not at a zoo. Seeing them in person, but not at a zoo. Yeah. That's good. What a wonderful privilege. Jane says she may just hang as it's been a rough but successful week. Colin's surgery went just great. Yay!
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
we're so pleased to hear that.
Yeah. Please give him my best.
Yeah.
I'm really happy to hear that he's doing well, and may that continue right through to excellent health.
And look who's here. Kathleen Househalter.
Wow. Hey, Kathleen. Yay.
She's dropping in for a while too.
Awesome. I'm
So nice to see
that's so
you.
great. Yay. Hi.
I hope you're feeling a little better. I heard you weren't your health wasn't the best. Let me put it that way. And I hope you're feeling better.
Yeah.
And that you're getting the rest you need. And hopefully hanging out here will do you lots of good.
Yeah. I mean, being in artistic community is often a good thing.
Yeah.
And hopefully this can do that to some little extent for you.
Mm-hmm. And Rebecca, I was so sad you had to miss our in-person event.
Hey,
I
Rebecca.
remember it was some good reason.
Yeah, she was traveling. So,
so that's awesome.
That's
But I so wish she could have been there. You would have enjoyed it. But it was wonderful. We had a full house. We could have squeezed in an extra anyway.
We absolutely could have.
Lee gave us a wonderful room, big long table,
long skinny room, but beautifully renovated.
and inspiring, right?
Yeah,
The space was really.
It was this beautiful exposed brick.
Oh.
All right, so Kim has to go answer the door, I'm afraid, because they probably have a question, the IRS, even though they said they wouldn't need to interrupt us. But I mean,
don't know whether the front or the back door.
try the back door.
Okay.
I think that was the back door. They may have stepped away from it again. Sorry, guys. It's just the nature of this situation that they're in the neighborhood. They're doing the like we're in the neighborhood, and we have tried hard to get an arborist. And
hi, we're in the middle of a broadcast right now, but we must have a.
So just Matt, I'm gonna start as I often do with just some color pieces. That's often how I get my base built, and I don't even know what sort of reflection is going to happen. It's gonna start with horizon line. So yeah. So
I can't tell you how happy I am.
so I'm playing with a couple of torn edges, and then, you know, reflections often benefit from a horizon line. They can be vertical. Maybe I'll switch it to vertical. That might even be a little less expected. But just that's my first setup, and it's kind of like a snooker setup. It's black, pink, and black. That's pretty fun. I heard Kim saying something cheerful, so that sounds like things are well in that land. So yeah, the guy came to the door just like, I don't know, 40 minutes before we were going, and it's like, this is great. The timing's not great, but this is great. We're not going to say no.
Well, it's good news.
What is the good news?
So he has to go over to the neighbor's yard to deal with the fallen branch, you know, the one that's been hanging in the tree for I don't know how many years.
Yeah.
And they said that's fine. And then he asked me about the rest of the trees.
Yep.
And
you were able to.
I gave him the go ahead to get it all dealt with.
Right. Good.
For the price. So for additional price, but a good one, I think.
Right. Okay. That's
so
awesome.
And they'll take away the brush.
Yep, which is great.
And they'll leave the logs.
Oh, okay.
Which we could turn into firewood or something.
We could, yes. We could do that. As long as they're logs on the ground and not big branches that are going to fall on our neighbor's property, we're very happy.
And on people's fences and heads and whatever. Yeah.
All of those unhappy things.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
So sorry about that, guys. Okay, this is real life.
And there you go. Yep.
Turning on the virtual collage jam. Yeah. But I got to tell you, this is such good news. We have been worrying about these trees for so long, and every time we tried to do something about them, we'd get stymied by some problem. So
so just.
And yes, Kathleen, I do know how it goes. One day at a time, you know, an hour at a time when you need to, whatever. Yeah. Rebecca says, I was sad to miss it too, but it was a chance to finally make the trip to visit my sister that I'd had to cancel at Christmas time when I caught COVID. I'm glad it went well. Well, that sounds like a wonderful trip.
Yeah.
Yes, and that sucked that you had to cancel it at Christmas time. So, yeah. I just got over, I still have a lingering cough, of course, but got over a very nasty chest cold that I got. What was I was feeling it there at the virtual collage jam, right?
At the event,
World Collage Day,
so hopefully not too many other people got it. But yeah.
I started to feel like it was emerging as the event went on, which was really unfortunate. But anyway,
we both noticed that we've got. Neither of us have had COVID yet that we're aware of.
Well, we've tested every time we've gotten something.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess I don't think you would have, but I can imagine that it's at least possible that I might have got it asymptomatically, but but I don't know. But
I didn't get it, so
no, that's true. So that's actually a good, but we both in the last few months, as we've sort of started to open up our social life again, have both got sick a few times because we're not used to being out and about like we used to be pre-pandemic. So.
Well, I only got it once, this chest cold.
Yeah, well, that's enough, isn't it?
That I tell you,
And I've had a
It
flu
was
and a
similar
cold.
to COVID, and I've heard that a lot of people got it. This COVID-like virus that isn't COVID, but it didn't turn into pneumonia, so that's something to celebrate.
Yeah, that is a
That was something I was
major source of celebration.
actively trying to
yeah.
fight against. Anyway, we don't need to talk about illness.
No, exactly.
Jeez, this is supposed to be fun.
Well, we just got off on a tangent. And,
Yeah.
and so what else is happening in the chat? Let Kim know, and she'll pass along.
Yeah.
How, if you're working with the prompt, what
kind of
what
materials
ideas,
or
what materials, what thoughts,
images.
Yeah, what images.
Obviously, in between actually doing things.
Yeah, as you so desire. And if you'd rather not tell us, that's totally fine too.
Jane, is Colin at home recuperating? I
hope so. Yeah, that's.
And I hope you have some help maybe with if he needs a lot of,
it's always good. It's always
care.
Good when someone can be home.
Yeah.
As long as you have enough help to
exactly
to manage it. Yeah.
Yeah. My mother's been getting increasing amounts of support, which has allowed her to stay at home, which is good. Now that I'm sort of over most of the way over the chest cold, I've been trying to get back to work again. I feel like I'm in a perpetual state of trying to get back to work.
Trying to get back to work again is kind of the sentence you've used a lot.
Oh my God. It's so funny, isn't it? But I've got this big show coming up, and now I'm starting to get a little freaked out because I was not planning on getting sick for 2 weeks, obviously. And so that's really set me back. And I have this course I'm teaching in Halliburton in July.
Wait, you're teaching in Halliburton?
Yeah, back after
a few years.
Yeah,
it was like 2019.
Because I had to give up. Did I do it in 20? Yes, I did. I did it with my concussion, didn't I? That was insane.
You did it. Well, that was.
Oh, that was 2018.
2018.
Yeah, but 2019, I still felt it.
Yeah.
But
totally.
2018, I don't know. Honestly, it's hard for me to remember exactly. But I have not. I've only taught that one workshop since COVID in person just a few weeks ago. So that Judy was at.
Yeah. But you're on the mend.
And Jane was at.
That's right.
Yeah. I think that's it for the people who are here, right? Yeah. That was fun, wasn't it?
That was fun.
You were there.
I was there. I sat in. I helped him get loaded in and so on, and then I was able to participate, which is
it was great.
One nice thing about being instructor partners like we are is that sometimes it's beneficial to have each other's help and to be able to sit in.
Yeah.
Once things are sort of set up, sit in on each other's courses. So
you taught a workshop, maybe a 4-week course or something, not long ago that I wanted to do, but I couldn't because I have to focus on my.
That's it's always manageable question of like what else do you need to fit in, right? So
yeah. Rebecca says, I'm not currently working on the prompt, just picking up an old project I haven't touched in months.
That's a good,
That's a good thing.
It's always a good feeling to, well, usually anyway. I was going to say, that's why you can't make a blanket.
Put a little proviso in there.
Can't make a blanket statement about that. It's often a good thing to, when I do it, I often feel like, oh, right. What was I even thinking when I was doing this? And I have to sort of reload my brain.
Yeah.
And then I either decide whether it's like, oh yeah, this is something that I really want to pick up again. Or sometimes I will decide that's like,
we're over it.
I kind of feel like I wish I had finished this, but I feel sort of like I've moved on beyond it, which can be a little bit sad. And sometimes, so then it's a question of like, okay, is it worth sort of like sticking it out because this is like it's well along and it really deserves to be finished? In which case, sometimes I'll like, okay, I'm just gonna like stick it out, try and get my head back into this space because I really would like to see this project finished. And then sometimes it's just like, you know what, this is going to be one of the many unfinished projects.
I think only in special cases do you need to grit your teeth and finish it. It has to be because there's something remarkable about it.
Yeah.
And so it deserves to be complete in the world. But if otherwise, if you're over it, if it's something that represents your past, not your present, then don't sweat it.
I
just
totally
let
agree.
it go. Yeah.
Life's too short.
Yeah. And I think part of that is also having the faith that you're doing new things and you're going to do more new things. And so you don't have to hang on to the old thing. Unless, as I say, it's in some way remarkable and worth investing that in. Thank you, Judy. She says, I really enjoyed it, the workshop.
Oh, nice.
And she finished her piece later at home. Perfect. That's Cal still has his piece that he's finishing. Whether he will or not will depend on precisely that conversation we just had. But I'm delighted to hear that you finished it at home. Feel free to share it to Virtual Collage Jam if you feel so inclined, a photograph of it. And you can mention that it was from that workshop so people understand the source of the material. Jane says Colin is home, was in hospital only 1 day. Wow. Had stepson and friends ever ready for help, but it was just so much easier pain-wise than anticipated.
Well,
that's good news.
That is, when you can say that, that's a really beautiful thing.
So glad.
Yeah.
He is back doing some chores, his prescribed exercises, sleeping pretty well in his reclining chair. Thanks for asking.
Wow, that's great.
So glad to hear that.
That's really quite remarkable that he's already so active.
Doing so well,
yeah. That's.
And Jane adds, the workshop was great. Thank you, Jane. It was great having you there. It was fun. It's actually a topic, an approach, whatever topic that would bear more time.
Repeating? Right.
Expanding a bit and having more time than just an afternoon. Now, this is interesting. What you're putting down.
Oh,
here.
Yeah. Well, I've set up a sort of reflection horizon, and then I just saw this image of bowling pins with a shoe in front of it and thought, well, that's kind of fun.
So cool like that.
Yeah. So I was thinking about this and then some sort of geometric shape that reflected that triangle. But then I was thinking, oh, well, maybe the negatives would be kind of fun. So I think it might be a negatives thing.
I do like the pins upside down, though.
Yeah. So I think maybe, and
with the little hat.
Yeah.
It ends up looking like a little hat or something.
So the thing I'm wondering now is whether should I like cropping off the shoe or cropping off some of the bowling pins. Doesn't seem neither of those seem particularly desirable. So I'm just wondering whether I need to make a bigger substrate for it or whether
I think having the shoe poke up above the black
like that.
Good?
Yeah. I can
violating the black.
Yeah.
I
think you're right. And then maybe what I could do is just and then just have these just kissing it. So I think that's it. So
cool.
It's always good to have a second pair of eyes.
Yeah, especially when I take my glasses off, I can see it as a real abstraction. I don't have to squint. Sorry for all the noise of my spoons and dishes and glasses earlier. Just managed to get my soup in before we started and was working on my next stage. But that's done now. Oh, seeing that headline, I want to do something that says objects lost and found.
Well, I will give you the headline.
Okay, thank you.
There you go.
There's something important in
No,
that.
that is important intuition, right? When
Yeah.
you notice something like that. So
The happy sounds of chainsaws.
yeah, we so often bemoan chainsaws going.
Yeah. This is one time when it makes me very happy.
We're very happy to hear them. I'm sure our neighbors don't agree, but I think that's often that's
Oh,
nature.
I bet our neighbors are pretty happy at the fact that we've got an arborist coming in to deal with our tree situation.
Well, yes, I guess I can see that too. But what I mean is just in general, the noise. Yeah. But
They are amazingly effective tools, though.
Usually chainsaws are only tolerated when you are appreciating what they do.
Yeah.
Whenever a neighbor is having something chainsawed, it's like, oh man, will they ever be done with that?
Well, sometimes it seems to go on and on and on. It's like, how are you not running out of things to chainsaw? Like the yards are not small, but they're not enormous,
Yeah.
And we are unusual in having an insane number of young and old trees in our yard because, well, just cause. Just cause.
Yeah. All right. Cut off some of this excess, and then I'll cut some more off later. And just see how this goes. I've set myself up for a challenge because it's that very lightweight magazine paper, and I've cut it out into maybe not the most ornate shape, but not an easy shape to manage.
Yeah.
With fine paper and small amounts of little areas, delicately cut areas. So.
Oh, and someone asked a question at the 5 Elements workshop that
you weren't able to answer at the time?
In the moment, I forgot what I usually do. They were asking about gluing down delicate tissues. And my recommendation for that is to apply the glue to the substrate that you're going to apply the tissue to, and then lay down the tissue onto that.
Yeah.
And you can always touch up little corners by dabbing or getting some of the glue on your finger and putting it onto the paper.
Yeah. And that can be especially effective if you're working with medium where it's just going to dry clear anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like if I do that with glue stick,
then scrape away the excess with your knife.
Yeah, but it often will mess up the surface of the paper. So
it'll be part of the process.
Spoken like a painter, I must say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas I am very trepidatious about that.
Well, also, like when I'm looking at that piece, if it were tissue, I would block in all the big areas, the main areas, with the glue stick on the substrate.
Right.
And then I would treat each little frond very delicately and patiently.
Right.
Individually.
Well, and that might have even been a better approach, but.
No, I'm not saying for this.
No, yeah, right.
If for it were tissue,
yeah, right.
Where you really have to worry about the integrity of the paper. I mean, fortunately, Japanese tissue is strong for its weight.
Yeah, it's sort of designed for that kind of. Even though when it's super supple and so on, it's stronger, right? When it's
Yeah,
saturated
I mean,
with something.
book conservators use the tissue to
Mend, right?
books, and it gives it strength while being it can actually look virtually invisible once the glue is applied. I was supposed to Japanese Paper Place approached me about teaching a workshop this fall in November
Right.
at their location in Etobicoke, and so I was thinking something mixed media oriented.
Right.
Anybody has any particular
Ideas or interests?
Please, email me, message me,
Get in touch
go to my
via your
website
and use the
contact form.
Yep.
I'm always interested in
getting input.
Yeah. Helps me think about things. My biggest problem is narrowing things down, right?
You always have a million possibilities, which is wonderful, but it's also
it's unmanageable.
It can be overwhelming, right? Yeah.
It takes me time to narrow down and edit down. Jane says, love your concept for reflection, Cal. Sometimes it is nice just to watch and not necessarily work. She's just sipping her soup right now.
Sipping her soup.
That's lovely. It is nice to watch, isn't it? It's a very satisfying. I've been watching a lot of, in my case, predominantly software tutorials, though not exclusively, because there are a bunch of things I have to learn for my work. And it is nice sitting back and watching. Much more satisfying, though, to watch someone doing a lovely artistic process. So I like the Photoshop tutorials for that, because it's like, oh wow, I can do that? Holy moly. Can't wait to try it. Some of the others are less exciting, but important.
Important, but maybe not
so fun.
Not so fun. Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, that looks fun.
Colorful
pins.
It does. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, this is it, right? So maybe it has to be at least considered, right?
Collage.
Yeah. Now, of course, I didn't flip it over beforehand, so I was. Yeah.
Oh, it's hard.
I was thinking that might have been better
down
there. Yeah. I might be going with the original, but it's always good to pause a moment to
flip things over,
consider whether that is serendipity that needs to be listened to or not, right? Of course, if I might have gone a different route if I hadn't got so far before I flipped this over, but in this case, I'm going with the original.
Right. Well, because you did the other half with the original in mind, it makes sense.
Yeah, and I did that because I needed to be able to place this piece in here to use it to position the negatives from the shoe.
Yeah.
So where I wanted them.
So one of the things that's sad about the getting the chest cold is it's going to take quite a while for my singing voice to come back. I did do a lesson last week, and at first I had no pitch. So notes weren't coming out, and eventually I got pitch back, but it was rough. So I had planned to do one or two more open mics, and sadly, that's going to have to be
a little further down the road.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It's too bad, but
all right. Reflection number 1.
All right.
There may be that's the kind of piece where I can imagine leaving it as is, and I can also imagine adding something more.
So sitting with it is a good thing to do. Just let it.
It's gonna go sit somewhere else for a while.
Let it marinate.
Exactly. And maybe I will take a look at these skylines. Something about reflections in water that can be quite beautiful.
Yeah. My grandfather used to paint a lot of those. He loved landscapes with water. Landscapes with fall leaves, and marine scenes.
I quite enjoy, like, of course, it's amazing when you can see when it's like the water's like glass and you get an almost perfect or very like virtually perfect reflection, but it's actually these more abstracted ones that I enjoy more.
They're more fun.
So
I remember we have a pair of, among others, a pair of paintings my grandfather did of Lake Louise. And I remember being disturbed by the fact that it didn't show reflections of the mountains in the water.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And it's because of the opacity of the water.
Right.
And, to me it looked like, this
false.
isn't one of his better paintings. But then I went and visited it and was like,
oh, this is actually what it looks like.
This is the real deal.
I remember reading that that British naval officers who sailed to the Caribbean, and of course, because they were officers, they were well-to-do, and so they'd been trained in watercolors. So they would paint watercolors, and they painted scenes of like the seas and the beaches and so on. And when they came back, people said, "You have no idea what the sea looks like. You can't you
because in England, of course, everything's always gray.
Yeah, you have no idea how to paint water."
We were derided for this crazy, and that was also true of painters painting Canadian landscapes. Because the air here is so clear compared to England, of course, had by then 200 years of coal.
Yeah.
So, yeah. During Winston Churchill's time as Prime Minister, was it post-war, or there was that huge emergency that was, a smog, fog, impenetrable kind that was killing people. London was famous for these dense fogs. Yeah, industrial revolution. Caused by water gathering around the particulates of the coal burning. But this one was a disaster. And a health disaster.
I don't think I knew about that.
Yeah. I saw it in a film of that time. About that time, not from that time. And in Seoul, Korea, they have this yellow dust, fine dust, and they get reports every day on how bad the dust is, and if it's above a certain level, you shouldn't go out jogging, and you should wear your mask when you go out. And so they wear the KN94 masks as dust masks. That's why it says on the packaging, yellow dust mask. Oh, I wondered, because I was thinking it's not yellow. And it's not for dust, at least as far as we're not using it for dust. Exactly. But in fact, that's so that makes something clearer, because they also use it when they get sick, so as not to spread it to people, predating COVID. But yeah, they have a series, and it's always struck me as funny because South Korea is very mountainous, and you usually think of mountains as having really wonderful air, maybe not enough oxygen, but otherwise really clear air. But
I mean,
maybe the valleys it gets trapped in.
yeah, well, and especially if the industry is in the valleys.
Well, and I'm
And the
wondering
people,
if
and the people.
some of it, if it's coming from China,
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
because China has a terrible air pollution problem.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
really horrific.
Yeah.
So, oh, that reflection is so beautiful,
Isn't it?
isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
It's like jewelry. I'd like jewelry like that.
I need my bigger glue sheet. This piece is.
You want me to get you a bigger piece of paper?
I've got the right one. That just have
Okay.
to fish it out. Thank you, though.
Got a nice patina on it, eh?
Yes, it's been used many a time.
It has.
I can't find it now, but something I've now decided is a good glue sheet as well is when you're finished a pad, is the inside of the well, probably the outside too. It's kind of a coated paper and it has a little stiffness, which I think is nice.
Yeah.
And you're just done with the pad anyway, right? So
Yeah.
I usually use the pad backs as mailers.
Yeah.
for
great
mailing
for that.
artwork or anything else.
Stiffening it.
Yep, exactly. So now I have a use for the fronts as well, which is
That's great.
Yeah.
Rebecca says, I remembered you could see that yellow cloud over Seoul as you were coming towards it.
wow,
It
right.
made my
Flying
throat
in.
hurt after spending weekends there.
Right. Wow.
So appalling. Seems like such a cool city too, like full of interesting things. Mind you, lots of secondary cities in South Korea too. Plus the mountains. I just love mountains. Mountains and ocean. They've got both. And compared to Canada, it's also close by.
Certainly where we are. I mean, the Great Lakes definitely have a lot of an ocean's majesty.
Yeah.
But not so much on the mountains.
Not so much. Nice and rugged around Lake Superior, though.
I think we're overdue to visit Lake Superior.
We are. Next time we go, we have to have a kayak or two. Depending on whether we have a tandem kayak or two individuals. Rebecca says, yeah, it's a great city for stuff to do. It sure seems like it. Also seems like the whole country is it's like going to San Francisco. I have to get in shape before I go because all the hills. San Francisco was insane. Do you remember
some of those streets were quite
streets
insane.
Going downhill? If you had like a little mist that had turned slightly frozen, it would just be carnage because there was no way to stop. I don't know. It felt like it was a 45-degree angle through which there were, 12 stoplights that, be strictly theoretical in circumstances like that. I mean, beautiful to look at, but the thought of driving that is scary to me. Rebecca says, absolutely. And so many walk-up apartments when I was there. Yeah. Well, because the residents are in such good shape from walking up and down those hills constantly. So that a walk-up apartment seems like, yeah, okay. Oh my goodness. Be good for me to live in a city like that. Not the air pollution part, but
No, the air
a
pollution
hilly
part would
city
be
like
very
that
much not.
for a year to get in the best shape of my life, probably. Certainly my post-teen life. Yeah. I'm dying to go. There was a deadline for a Japanese residency. I was thinking, oh, I can apply for that. I can always go and visit Korea, but it was going to conflict with my show, so I won't have a big show like that every year, so not foreseeably anyway, so the next year should be better. That's cool. I'm seeing it, of course, with a lag compared to real life.
Yeah.
So I just saw what you did. I love that you've made an echoing silhouette, but it's torn. So it has this lovely rough, which is kind of a paper equivalent to the blur of the lights. And orienting the text vertically like the buildings are. So much thought goes into these things, doesn't it, Cal?
Well,
even when you're not thinking about it, it's embedded.
It's intuition, which
is embedded knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's definitely thought to it, but then there's also sort of ideally being partially distracted the way I am usually when we're doing a live stream. In this case, I think it's letting me just tap into intuition without thinking too much.
Yeah.
Sometimes thinking too much can be an impediment to tapping into your intuition. So
yeah.
It just depends on the piece too, whether that's beneficial or whether you really need to actually think. I've definitely had those too, where I've just been working intuitively and thought, oh, I really need to think that through a little better. So, oh well, didn't.
Yeah.
So
Rebecca says, I lived in a small town called Kang Nung. My apartment looked at rice fields. Oh, that sounds quite idyllic, really. As long as you had what you needed in the small town. Looking at rice fields would be lovely and peaceful. Nice to wake up to. Oh, yeah. For so many reasons, I'm dying to head out somewhere for a long time. Not just a couple of weeks, not even 4 weeks, longer.
Not measured in weeks.
No. Cool thing is, in Korea, they've got way better internet than we do. So I could still do internet stuff as long as I was willing to be on the other side of the planet and therefore the other side of the time zones to do it. I could still do stuff that people here could participate in. Wow. That magazine seems to have a lot of covers.
It does. We've got their interior cover and their exterior cover.
It had beach and mountains and was in North Korea before the war. Wow. That must have been amazing. What a great thing that you did that. Wish I'd done that when I was younger. But I'll just do it now that I'm older.
Exactly.
Some version of it. Preferably an art residency. Preferably an art residency with an exhibition. I mean, while you're wishing for things, right? Is everybody here with me on that? You know, wish for something good.
Yeah,
don't be stingy with your wishes. Wish for something really good and juicy.
Yeah, make it worth the wish.
Yeah, so sometimes your wishes come true, so you might as well make it really worth the effort. You don't want to have your wish come true and then you're wishing that you'd wished for more. Oh, does she have her eyes open in one and her eyes closed in another?
No,
No, it's
No.
the same. That would have been
that
nice.
that would have been nice. Yeah.
Yeah. More interesting, I think, than
Yeah.
what they actually did.
Yeah. Well,
They didn't hire me though.
they have this impediment, or that they have to have it be appealing to not just artists.
What's wrong with them?
I know, eh? what were they thinking?
They should just call me up every time.
Exactly.
Or to buy me. Oh dear. Yeah. Oh, I do like seeing the half figure with the half figure shadow next to it. That's quite cool.
I'm also wondering about, like, there's an interesting analogy between these two. And so I was thinking, oh well, you know, this is interesting too, like figure and skyline, and then those are there. But I was just wondering about, like, what if I took that's why I put my ruler over it to start. Like, what if I took a city out and the figure out, or almost out, and just had this? I guess is a bit of a challenge because this hand of hers, because I can't just have the shadow. I will because if I crop that out, I will lose a bunch of.
It might be fine to have the hand.
It might be, yeah, exactly.
You know.
Yep.
I mean, the type is black.
It might be a bit bizarre. Sorry.
Apropos, on brand. Rebecca says, "Go for it. I loved it." Thank you, Rebecca. Sibylla says, "I am in the process finishing my Klimt collage, The Kiss, I did in your collage course at OCAD several years ago, Cal.
Yeah,
I am motivated to finish it today." That's awesome.
Coming back to the earlier piece. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone else said they were doing that, right?
Yeah. And wasn't my a few couple of collage jams ago, or last,
we were doing that.
We were there was like a finishing sort of a unfinished business or something. I forget. I can't remember the prompt, guys.
That's okay. You don't have to remember.
No, but it was something.
You remember what it was about.
Along the lines of, it was recollage. That's it.
Right.
And so I was definitely revisiting some of my older collages to.
Sibylla, I hope you'll consider sharing a photo of it with us in the
collage jam group. Yeah,
that would be really great to see. A way to celebrate the completion.
Yes, exactly.
Too. It's so interesting when you change the orientation of an image. How it's full of potentials that you can't realize so well when you have it in its standard orientation.
Yes, it's so true.
And it means that the viewer also sees it differently in the finished product. Sibylla says she'd be happy to, but have to learn how to do it technically. That sounds like a computer micro skill that I should
do a little video about.
Make a little video about and put on my YouTube channel. You've inspired me with an idea, Sibylla.
That's very cool.
Do you visit the Virtual Collage Jam group on Facebook?
Group?
Because please do, even if you're not clear on how to share your own work. It's wonderful to see what's there. And I will, I have some things I need to do, but I will put it on my list of
your job
high up on the list of my YouTube video
ideas.
projects.
Yeah, because
Because it won't take me that long.
No.
And I'll announce in the group when I've done that so that you can see.
And if Sibylla, if you're on Facebook, Sibylla, but not a member of the group, you have to request to join the first time, and then we'll let you in, and then you can post, which Kim will.
Yeah, and you can just visit it and comment and.
Visiting and commenting, you don't need to know how to
liking
post.
And all of that.
Yeah.
There's lots of good stuff there.
Because it is a good way to sort of have a little bit of collage community without having to go to a particular destination.
Yeah. In between collage jams.
Exactly.
People keep posting, when Collage Jam is on a break. Val certainly is there regularly. Cherie, who's not here with us today, but she usually is. She posts regularly.
And I know a bunch of you guys
people
use some of the other places that offer collage prompts, most notably Paris Collage Collective, who has a weekly prompt.
And Edinburgh too, right?
And Edinburgh Collage Collective, and then Februelage, which is the month of February for collage, has prompts. So,
so there's always stuff going on in the Collage Jam group, which is great. I pop in periodically and take a look.
Yeah, ditto, and take a look at what people are posting and
get a little inspiration for myself.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Cheer people on.
Well, and that's what it's about, right? It's about inspiring each other.
Exactly. That's important stuff. That is important. So interesting how the colors are so simpatico.
That was what drew me to this as a...
Yeah, it's remarkable.
Drew me to its potential.
I've been doing so little art in such a long time since my show and the surgery last year, and I really have to ramp myself up. It's good to be here and be at the World Collage Jam Day because it helps prepare me mentally for that. Maybe today I'll do a little something to. Well, I guess I have to. I have a class tomorrow I have to prepare for. So I have to make something. That's something I have been doing, is making things for that.
That when you have a class the next day, there's no waiting.
Yeah.
Waiting about.
That's right. Have my follow up with my surgeon tomorrow.
That's right. In the morning, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Seeing your big polka dot head.
Right. Sorry. Yeah, I didn't need to sort of get a look square down on it, but
I think everybody here understands.
Oh, I know, but it does. I forget that because I'm focused down here. I forget that up there, if I'm doing this,
it's quite funny.
This big polka dot head looming in.
Yeah. It's worth my reiterating, anybody watching this right now or in the future, because the replays are available indefinitely, if you want to join the Virtual Collage Jam group on Facebook, just search for Virtual Collage Jam and ask to join. It's a friendly, creative community space. Is how we like it. Also, if you're getting anything out of today and haven't yet, if you'd consider giving this video a like,
helps other
when it's convenient for
Yeah.
you. I know some of you are working away
In the
on
middle
your
of stuff,
projects.
but it does help other collagers find us
Yeah.
and us to expand our spread the love.
Yeah.
Just
Well, because it'd be great
yeah,
to
absolutely.
get it out about. Oh, that's interesting. He's just full of good ideas, isn't he? Yeah. I guess that's why you're there.
You are silly. But
Am I?
You are. But
Just appreciative.
I am fine with that. I'm pretty silly too.
Yeah.
As anyone who knows me knows.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much, everybody. Really appreciate the likes.
Have a little like flurry going on there.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, it's just the, YouTube cares about that stuff. The fact that you're here is what we care about, and the fact that we're having this lovely time together.
Exactly.
But YouTube cares about these likes and stuff in order to understand what to share with other people who are interested in this kind of stuff.
Exactly.
I was thinking I might try some papier-mâché for one or two pieces for my show. Kind of a fun idea to. We've got the paper shredder, that helps.
Yeah, that does help.
Yeah.
So this one sort of morphed a little bit beyond just the reflection, but that's where it started. It wouldn't have existed without that prompt, and that's something I also hasten to add for you guys is a prompt is about getting started. So it's not a mandate or an edict that it's like, oh,
it's not a prison.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. It's not like, oh, but that's going too far away from the prompt.
Yeah.
Right. It's like if the prompt got you started and got you towards an interesting idea, then that is a win.
It served its purpose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
so much is about starting points in studio practice of art. And prompts are so valuable for that. But when you don't need them, you don't need them. And when you're done with them, you're done with, any given one. Wander off in another direction, that's great. If it's an interesting direction, it's a natural direction for your curiosity to follow. That's what matters. Jane says, I like that one, Cal.
Oh, thanks, Jane.
And Philippa says, I just spent a week halfway up a mountain in BC.
Wow.
Lytton is the closest town. Magnificent scenery and trees. Oh.
Yeah.
Every time I go to BC, I seriously question, why am I going back to Ontario?
And Philippa, I love how adventurous you are. That's so cool.
Yeah. That sounds lovely.
What if it's something you don't mind sharing, what took you there? Because that sounds super interesting and exciting.
Just being there would be wonderful.
He's crazy hair sometimes, right? You have to make decisions about what stays and what goes.
Yeah. I've learned about 28 methods of improving hair selections in Photoshop.
Yes.
I've forgotten almost as many, but it's the thought that counts.
That is one thing about working analog is if it can be great in theory, but if you can't cut it, you can't cut it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So yeah, which is sometimes I find that galling, but oftentimes I find it liberating. It's like, yeah, no, I'm not going to cut that. So what other ideas can I come up with?
Yeah,
because life is too short, or it's just not going to work. It's not possible. So I found I'm a few things about these two Fendi ads and these nice colors on the background.
yeah, lovely colors.
It was a fold out from the front cover, so the stock is actually heavier, which is nice, rather than that super thin interior paper. And there's something about the fact that the figures are cut, and so was thinking, which is not that usual.
No, it's an unusual choice.
So I'm thinking I'm going to cut out each figure and put them together and look at the negatives and look at the flip sides. I sometimes do take a quick look to see what the flip side. This one might be interesting because it has two figures. This one's got text on it, so maybe not so much, but I'm just going to cut both out and then see where we go from there. But I am cutting with an eye towards preserving my negatives.
Right.
So that they're an option that I can play with, rather than cutting them up into mini little pieces to try to just facilitate cutting her out. And that's
a beautiful shot of Bella Hadid.
Oh, I mean, it's hard not to have a beautiful shot of Bella Hadid, but yes.
The lighting is so good. And her pose is so good.
And you know what? Actually, a lot of fashion lighting is very flattening, and this isn't. And that's so much kind of unusual, right? I mean, artists, most of us have done some figure work at some point, and most of us love the lighting that shows the figure really well, right?
Well, because shadow shows form.
Yeah, exactly.
Light and shadow. So, and a lot of models or beautiful people are like beautifully sculpted.
Yeah, exactly.
And without shadows, you don't see that.
And if you've got that sort of, we're going to put 1 billion megawatts of light on you so that, only your eyes and hair and lips show up,
Well, and that's also why they say the camera adds 20 pounds or whatever, or 10 pounds, because it flattens you.
Right.
So things that are actually your rounding towards the sides look like they're full frontal.
Oh, see, I knew that phrase, and I knew that it was true, but I didn't understand why. But you've just explained it, so
lens choice can affect it too. But that's
that is
basic.
Because you become more of a cardboard cutout rather than a 3-dimensional form, right?
And when you think of professional models, they're often under very strong lights, so they could be 20 pounds underweight and look
at least
and
not
look like
not
they're
always. They are changing, but not certainly not universally.
See, even her hand on her hip is beautiful.
It's very beautifully modeled. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a hankering to do some drawing again. I haven't drawn for so long, so that's something I should change.
Just flipping it over to find out where I might have missed a little.
Right, yeah, so that you don't end up with a
funny
tear.
Yeah. There's something in there. Let's reassert those cuts. Yeah.
Cal's patient work. How many hours have we spent here watching Cal patiently cut something out, eh? To be fair, he's also torn some things, even today. Uh, Did you tell everybody you got some more books in?
No, I didn't actually. So that's thank you
We
for
ran out of stock, so
thank you
we've
for the
got some
prompt.
new ones
Yep.
in.
So I have ordered a few more of my collage and decollage book. So if that was something you missed out on and are interested in,
Or someone you know.
or someone you
missed out
know,
on.
yep, exactly. They can get in touch with me. How much did we
It's
decide?
$55.
$55. That's right.
It was going to be 60, but we managed to get
Another
not
good
as
deal.
good a deal,
No,
but
but
we managed to get a bit of a deal.
Pretty good deal. Yeah, exactly. So I have shot a little video that showing off the book and talking about it a little bit, but I haven't actually managed to get it. I don't think it needs a ton of editing, but I haven't got further than that. But probably
we'll
soon.
sit down side by side and
soon
get
on
you
my
started on
soon
it.
on my YouTube channel
Yeah.
and on social. I will have that video so that you can take a closer look at it if
Or
you're
share it with someone.
or share it with someone who you think might enjoy it or whatever. So yeah. And I'm going to have it as a for sale on my website as an item, but there's only one of me.
There is Rebecca now.
There is Rebecca. That's
Rebecca's
true.
back.
That's true. And she was just asking me, is there something I can help with?
So Rebecca, you know what you need to do. You need to manage Cal a little bit. Yeah.
We all know how difficult that can be.
It is. Oh. Pain in my eye is spreading to my cheek.
I don't like sentences like that.
No.
Oh, right, because you have a sty, right? Yes, no, I was like...
Rebecca says, I'll try. I've been with Cal a long time. I know it's hard, but you're fighting the good fight, and I appreciate you for that.
Yeah, Kim likes having a little respite from wrangling me.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm looking at this.
Good to share the load, even a little.
Oh dear. Coming at this model and her ear is all angular because she's got one of those very large
ear ornaments
on it. There's no ear profile. It's just these metal chunks, which is interesting.
Yeah, I love the cutting edge jewelry that defies the normal constraints of.
Yeah, that's super exciting.
How jewelry sits, where it is, how it behaves. I mean, I love conventionally placed jewelry too, but yeah.
But things like that, and not just piercings either, like that. No. Some of those just clip onto the ear.
Exactly.
And I've definitely seen some interesting things with sort of jewelry that's been adhered, so temporary, obviously adhered to the face.
Also things that come down over the face, sinuously or whatever. Like, it's amazing.
And they definitely defy what have been conventions about, like what you should or shouldn't hide or obscure with jewelry.
Well, as it should be, right?
Yeah.
The future is supposed to be different, and the future is arriving every day.
That sounds like a meme of some kind. The future is arriving every day.
I'm just a walking meme. Sometimes that's not a good thing. Sometimes I'm one of those object lesson memes. Hilarious object lesson. It sounds like the chainsaws are quiet now.
It does. They're probably just moving from one thing to the next, though.
Maybe. Our arborist has a charming Scottish accent, eh?
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
I thought it was Australian, but I think you're right. I think
No, it wasn't Australian.
Yeah.
It's like a gentle Scottish accent. I can't wait to see what the tree situation looks like.
And so, how are your collages, guys?
Yeah.
How are your collages going,
Everybody.
guys? Yeah.
Or whatever else.
Or whatever else.
Or your
yeah.
soup. Or your martini, whatever. I mean, Val's quite capable of having both the martini and a collage.
Of course.
As I recall. I'd be here with my Shirley Temple. I have a soft spot for Shirley Temples, though, because I remember the first time I had one, I was 5 years old, and one of my beloved godmothers had just taken me to see the musical movie Oliver. And we were having she was a social activist all her life. Right till she was 80, she was on committees for affordable housing and public health care and anti-poverty measures and so on. And so there I was, 5 years old, in Howard Johnson's, having a Shirley Temple and having a very serious discussion about poverty. She said she was quite amazed at what my 5-year-old self was capable of thinking and saying about the issue. Surprisingly mature.
But you were born 30, were you not?
Was I? Maybe. At least I was cute as a button when I was 5.
And you certainly were, and nothing has changed.
Aww. Val says, I think my brain is still on vacation and it would be a margarita if I was having anything. Well, that's good to know. Thank you for correcting me.
Yep.
Good to know your drink. Yeah. I recall my mother used to like margaritas. Alexis would like to know if there's a way she can share her collage. Alexis, are you on Facebook at all? If so, you can search for Virtual Collage Jam, which is a group on Facebook.
In fact, I think the full title is Virtual Collage Jam Group.
Okay.
So if you type that into the Facebook search window, you should be able to find it.
And just request to join, and we will definitely approve you. And then you can post.
The visual is a predominantly black and yellow image of like scissors and knives and some yellow paper and some sort of black imagery. I can't remember because I did it a long time ago.
Yeah.
But that's how you'll know you've got the right one.
And Cal Honey is the admin.
Yeah.
I think I'm a secondary admin.
Yeah, but it's on my artist page, which is Cal Honey Art. So
on Facebook.
And you can share. That
We'd
would be
love
awesome.
You to
yeah,
share.
Exactly.
So yeah.
And you can see great. The good thing about working with these prompts is you can post yours, and then you can see several other artists' response to the same prompt, and which is kind of
so interesting.
Kind of exactly. Like I always love to see what other artists come up with with the same sort of starting point, and yet how differently our minds work.
Exactly.
And that's the crack that keeps me addicted to teaching and doing this kind of thing.
Yeah.
I just love seeing how different minds respond to the same stimuli.
It's fantastic. Thank you, Alexis. Alexis, have you been with us before?
Yeah, that name does not ring a bell.
Yeah.
Is this your first time with us, or have you been lurking before, or?
I want to say welcome.
Yeah.
Even if you've been here sort of quietly before, it's the first time meeting you here. So welcome to the community.
Yeah.
Great to see you here. I'll just give you a 10-minute warning.
Yeah, please do when we get to that point.
Well, that's where we are.
No, we're not.
Yeah, I know.
We just
crazy.
We just started. I don't want to finish yet.
That's so cute. Alexis says it's her first time here.
Oh, well, welcome.
Oh,
Yay.
that's so
Hi.
great.
Sorry, I'm struggling to get my angles right here.
Yeah. It's hard to do sometimes. Yeah. Ooh.
I'm kind of liking that.
Yeah. The silhouette of the reverse side
is really effective.
Shows off that the shape so beautifully.
Yeah, it's quite
as beautiful as the photograph is.
The photograph is beautiful, but yeah, I mean, and not sometimes you flip over and look at just the graphic side and you think the pose would be great and it isn't, and sometimes this one really communicates it very well. So yeah.
Since you're new here, Alexis, I'll just let you know for in between times or times when we're taking a break, you know, we run a number of sessions and then we take a break and then we run some more sessions of this. Cal has all of the past virtual collage jams available on his YouTube channel here as replays. So you can always keep yourself creative company with a replay.
Yeah, which can be, you can just pick and you can pick your prompt, right? It's like, oh, I like that prompt, so I'm going to work with that one, and you can, it can be. Kim and I often talk about the idea of an appointment with your artist, which is a little bit of time that you've set aside to make your art, right?
Yeah.
And so if an hour and a half-ish is a good amount of time, then you can say, I'm going to do this particular collage jam at this time of day. And like, I'm going to go.
Or you can just do half of it.
Yeah, exactly.
45 minutes is more realistic.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you could do it over in installments. Exactly. Yeah. So yeah.
So yeah, my channel has a virtual studio party, which has been on a long break, on hiatus, and you know, they're both available for for keeping you creative company and maybe inspiring you a little bit or a lot. Just depends.
No reason why I can't inspire a lot.
Yeah. Here's a nice pack of colored paper, eh? See if I have my note on my laptop about YouTube videos to jot down that idea. No, I think it's on my phone. That's wild. You know what I like about that? I'm surprised by it.
Well, and that's great. Like, that to me is important.
And by eliminating the face.
Yeah, and that's what I was looking at.
I am now super conscious of the wonderful angles her arms are at.
And there's, like, on this brown, there's a nice sort of palette thing going on with all the warm colors in her.
That's super interesting.
Yeah, so I think that's the piece.
Yeah.
Whether it'll go straight down the center of this or whether I might make it a skinnier, tall format like that. That might be nice. I think something like that might be good. There is something nice about sometimes I'm leery of things that are sort of smack dab in the center with a lot of space around them, but this one might. You know what I'm going to do? So again, there's a decision I haven't made yet.
Yeah.
But I can glue it down in this position, and then hold pieces of paper over it and say, do I like it? Do I not? And I can trim it down after the fact if I decide that that's the right thing. But what I'll do is I'll glue them down.
You could also consider trimming it asymmetrically.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Because sometimes that's interesting. Like this pose has that nice angle with the elbow, and there's a sweep. There is actually kind of a nice sort of, this one's more equal. Well, maybe, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, like that could be interesting. Let's try it the other way just for fun.
Yeah.
Because then
always worth checking both sides.
Because those elbows sort of pointing off into that space from both of them might be interesting. Yeah. But in this case, I'm kind of feeling like if I were to do it asymmetrically, it would be this way. But I'm not even sure why that is. Sometimes I can say, and this time I'm not sure I can. And
that's why you're gonna.
Yeah, and I'm also gonna. Yeah. So another tenet that I really like to live by, as you guys know, because you've heard me say it before, is move from the knowns to the unknown. So I know that as soon as I saw this, defeat the face, have these interesting conversations between these two pieces on this ground.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great.
So
the other parts I will figure out afterwards. So
it's the advantage of having wider paper.
Yeah. Yeah, this is nice 12 by 12 paper. So
yeah. Philippa says that where she was staying is a small Buddhist priory called Lionsgate.
Wow.
The two monks who live there are friends of Engo he hadn't seen for a very long time. Wow, this experience just gets better and more interesting with everything you share about it, Philippa. I think it's wonderful. And how great for Engo to see his old friends. That just must have been so special. Judy's here saying thanks, and she has to run. Bye, Judy.
Of course,
thanks
Judy.
For joining us.
Take care. Thanks very much for joining us.
Yeah, we've got 3 minutes, Cal.
Right. So the question is, should I try and glue?
I would suggest
not to.
That you do your wrap up.
I think that makes sense. Yeah.
You know what you're doing.
Yeah, so exactly. So my wrap up, quote unquote, is going to consist of just a little drive-by look at what I've done. And this one, I think, is quite possibly the best one of all of them. But
certainly intriguing. Isn't
it? Definitely. So let's then backpedal through what we've done or what I've done.
Other people might find this one.
Yeah, no, exactly.
More to their taste.
Exactly. And so
the blacks in that are so interesting.
There's this nice
asymmetrical.
Asymmetrical balance and also between the two bazaars.
Yeah, and the shadows.
And this way is not the way I would do it, because this way the city makes sense. And I like the city not to make sense, or not as much sense.
Well,
we can still
the city becomes too important.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say. Like, you sort of lose noticing other connections.
Because it's not about the city.
Exactly. The city is an element. And it's for that same reason, that's why I've cropped most of her face out. Although we have, like, the hand is expressive, the hair is expressive, the dress silhouette is expressive. But if her face were there, then it would overpower it. And same thing with the right side up city. Yeah. So I think there's something really nice about that way. This one, I don't even know which orientation this one is. I did it with sort of something like this in mind. And in fact, I think this is my leading candidate because the type is upside down.
Yeah,
which I think is beneficial.
Yes,
it defeats. We still know it's type, but it's just like the face. If we can read it too much, so I think there's something to be said for this orientation.
Can you try it horizontally with the white
on the top? Yeah, absolutely. And that's definitely interesting too. Probably this way is also interesting.
But then it's sort of about the city again. Not as much as the
Yeah.
other one, but
Yeah, it's true.
it's too.
And
it's too
so the
descriptive of the
reason I
city.
like this one best is it defeats the type a little bit, and it also, we notice the horizontal stress of those, and we don't necessarily, it would take us a minute or two or a moment or two at least to figure out that that's a city skyline reflection. So before we do that, or maybe we notice it, but then we notice the color and shape of it more.
This before you move on, what you're just talking about reminds me of a post I just posted today or yesterday on Facebook with a quote from, I forget who now, a writer,
right,
an author, famous author, and it's about, I think it was Henry Miller actually,
right.
But Buddhists talk about this too. When you name something, you stop noticing it, because there's something that actually happens in the brain. And when you name something, the brain goes, and kind of an automatic function of the brain is, okay, that's neat. I can file that away now.
It's kind of like there's a little tick box and we put a check mark in it and we stop paying attention to it.
We stop paying attention. And the most important thing about art is to pay attention.
Yeah. And so anything and that's essentially what we've been talking about here, by removing faces, by changing
the
orientations,
city not look like the city,
taking things that are like highly recognizable and making them less so, to allow us to appreciate other qualities rather than that sort of immediate one and done, recognize, check, move on, right?
It opens up space for noticing.
And this is where we started, and that one would definitely go this way, because the photograph, again, flipping it upside down makes it more.
That shoe needs to be at the top. That little pointy shoe.
The pointy shoe does need to be at the top, and again, it's less record. It defeats it a little bit. And
it's not about bowling pins.
Yeah, and it becomes about the shapes. Yeah, exactly. Which is what I was looking for. So, so there we go.
Cool.
Unusually, I actually got a few done. Sometimes I start one and that's it. So, so I'm just gonna black out our camera for a moment.
Time.
Yep.
And then, excuse me. I'm actually doing pretty well today. I haven't had a coughing fit.
Oh, get the camera apparatus. Wow. Oh, there we go. Got
Nellie
the lighting.
Says she's at her third.
Awesome, Nellie. So yeah, you're having a really good session too. Yay. That's great. I look forward to seeing them on Facebook, Nellie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And who else says what?
Val says, seem to have lost you, but thanks. It's been good to get back to collaging. I guess a blip and
or it may just be because I put the or
blacked out or something. Yeah. Jane says, good show, Cal. Thanks.
Thanks, Jane. It's been fun playing collage games with everyone, and So
we have one more next week?
Next one.
Or 2 weeks from now?
2 weeks from now. I'm just going to check the calendar quickly, guys, so that I can tell you what it is.
Accurate information is useful. Thank you for the likes. I see.
Come on, calendar. Okay. So our next and last one will be
for this term
for this season until the fall, probably, will be on June 12th, and it is on the theme of collections.
There you go. So, not that anybody here collects anything.
No, collagists just throw everything out.
Yeah,
I mean that's.
I mean, they live the minimalist dream, right?
Exactly. So, so you can start thinking about that.
Yeah.
And
great to have you back, Rebecca. Thank you for being here.
And we will see you in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Take care, everybody.
Thank you so much. Keep on collaging, and I look forward to seeing what you cook up on Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.